We're talking Dynasty buy, sell, hold the void. We got some pretty decent names on here, Nate. So why don't you go ahead and just kick it off for me, because this is a big one. And I saw this, I looked at it, and I was surprised that you're doing this with this player.
Yeah, I have to because I got to follow the numbers. I got to follow the production. And who's producing right now? Achane with the Miami Dolphins, the running back down there. I know Raheem Mostert still getting a couple touches, a couple touchdowns here and there, but he did fumble this past weekend, and we saw the Achane show the rest of that Sunday. And what he did was 8 for 35 and a touchdown. But Mike, not on the ground, through the air, 8 receptions, 35 yards and a touchdown. On the ground, 12 attempts for 63 yards and another touchdown. So a really good game for Achane against Buffalo this past weekend. On the season, he has 93 carries for 422 yards and 2 touchdowns. But what is really impressive with what Achane is doing down there in Miami is he has 37 catches for 279 yards and 3 touchdowns. And this is really exciting for us moving forward. Achane could possibly be the RB1 rest of the season. Maybe not RB1 because, hey, we do have Derrick Henry going on an absolute tear right now. But we know that receiving work is invaluable for running backs, and he is really getting it done through the air. With Tua back, we get really excited about Achane because with Tua, Achane so far this year is averaging 27.8 points per game. That would easily be RB1. Of that 27.8 points per game, 17.8 of it is coming through the air with Tua. Achane has overtaken Jaylen Waddle as the wide receiver 2 for this team. And if not, some games the wide receiver 1 over Tyreek Hill as well.
Yeah.
This team is very different of how they're choosing to spread around their targets. A lot of the targets are going to the running back position now versus the wide receiver position like they have over the past couple years. Only 7 wide receivers or tight ends because George Kittle is up there. Average at least 17.8 points per game through the air. So Achane with Tua Tagovailoa is a top 10 wide receiver, top 8 actually, if you look at it that way. Right now on Keep Trade Cuddy's RB6. Sounds expensive, but he's still lower than he was last October when he was RB3. So he's still a decent value. He's young. He's got plenty of opportunity ahead of him because Raheem Mostert is not too far away, I think, from finding a new home maybe or retiring. He is in his 30s now. Yeah. So what does it cost to go get this running back that's producing so well? Well, maybe less than I thought, Mike. Okay. A first and a second round pick, maybe a first round pick, and a player like Tyrone Tracy, Isaiah Likely. I saw all these trades go through on Dynasty Daddy. How do you feel about a first round pick and a second round value for Achane?
Yeah, I'm okay with it. Yeah. There's going to be good running backs coming out this year, but this is a guy that's still going to be young. He's going to be a third-year player next year when that season starts. He's productive right now. He's in a great system for him. Yeah, I'm okay with it, especially Tyrone Tracy. I said it.
Especially, yeah.
I said it.
And just a reminder, this guy is RB8 on the season. So it's not just like, hey, when he's with Tua, he's good, and when he's not, he's not. He's RB8 on the season, averaging 17.4 points per game total. Another trade here, CMC for Achane and a third-round pick. What do you think, Mike?
Let's do it. What has CMC done for you this year?
Supposedly he's coming back, but hey, Achane's got a couple years on him, and he's getting the work that we want. The whole reason we want CMC is because of the receiving work.
Right.
Achane is getting that.
Yeah.
All right. And then last one I got for you here, teammate trade. Tua Tagovailoa or Achane?
I guess for me, that's team dependent. In a vacuum, it's fair, but I'd have to really evaluate what my team looks like and see which direction I need to go.
And I'm definitely going to lean the Achane side because of the injuries with Tua. In a vacuum, I'm going to take those injuries into account. I'll lean Achane absolutely. So if you're looking to make that move, there's some moves for you to go get Achane. Okay, Mike, I know you're really excited to talk about your next sell.
Very much. I'm going to sell Dallas Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott. So this last game, he's actually pretty efficient, 18 to 24. 133 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 carries, 30 yards, no touchdowns there, but no turnovers either. He does have a hamstring injury. He's going to be out a few weeks. It just keeps getting worse in Dallas. This is bad news if you're a contender. Nate was very high on Dak Prescott for the season, as was I. I mean, he's been a consistent producer throughout his career for the most part. Look, he's only 31. And I know, like, oh, why are you selling a quarterback that's only 31? He's going to have more left in the tank after the season. He did just sign a contract extension with Dallas. He's a viable candidate for teams that will need a quarterback 2 next year. Okay, but you need a guy right now that's going to be getting you points. The goal here is to move on from him and get a quarterback that's currently playing and at the worst is around the same age as Dak. He's quarterback 19 in the season. He's averaging 15.6 fantasy points per game, which seems a little bit low for him, but things haven't been the best in Dallas. But what does it cost to move on from a guy like Dak? Or if you want to take him, you're not contending anymore, hey, I'll stash him for next year. Let's see what it costs. There were 2 trades I saw. You could have done either Matthew Stafford or Bo Nix.
On a contending team, I think you probably make the trade for Bo Nix because you need the points. I'm not sure if I'm trading for Matthew Stafford. I know he's not that much older than Dak Prescott, but, well, despite Dak being injured right now, I do feel like Stafford has a large amount of injuries over the course of his career that are going to impact his longevity after, this season. But, hey, I will probably keep Dak because Dak was the quarterback 3 last year. And even though he's on IR and going to miss 4 games, I still believe in his ability as a fantasy producer. I do like Bo Nix, though. And you have a note on here. Could it be Nix plus? If it's Nix plus, I'm definitely seriously considering that move.
Yeah. Also, Stafford is 36.
It's about 5 years.
Yeah. Here's one. Dak and a 25-second for Jared Goff.
As a contending team, I think that's a move that is fair to make.
Yeah. I mean, Goff hasn't been throwing for a ton of yards, but he hasn't needed to. The Lions have been winning convincingly, and he's still throwing a lot of touchdowns, not throwing any interceptions really, or turning the ball over. So,
and J-Moo's back this week, so that that's maybe a huge addition yardage wise, though he has had a couple breakout games, but it also just opens up the offense, gives him someone to open up those underneath routes for Amon-Ra St. Brown and Sam Laporta.
Yeah. Here's another guy we were mentioning before. Dak and a 25 third for Tua.
I'll keep Dak here.
Yeah, really?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, fair enough. And Dak and a 25 first for Drake May. I do not like this trade.
I don't like this trade either. I like May, but this is too much for me to pay to go get Drake May.
Yeah, if it was straight up, I would be more comfortable with that.
Yep.
It's just we have a proven commodity. I understand he's hurt right now. But Drake May also just coming off a concussion as well. So, it's just one of those things. I think this is an overpay for Drake May in 2 or 3 years. This deal would probably look a little bit better when Dak's older.
Of course.
But for right now, I would just not make that deal. What kind of sell or hold do you have for us?
Yeah, I started out with a sell here. And my sell was DJ Moore. Why? Well, he had 9 targets this past week, caught 4 of them for 33 yards. Really hasn't had a great season so far. You go back and look at where we are on the season, 37 receptions for 374 yards and 3 touchdowns. Only 1 game over 100 yards. And that was week 5 against the Carolina Panthers when he had 5 catches for 105 yards. Outside of that, his season high is against the Colts in week 3 with 78 yards. And outside of that, only 1 game over 50 yards on the season. So out of the 8 games he's played so far this season, only 3 of them have been over 50 yards, only 1 of them over 100 yards. A little bit of that comes down to the offense, and the offense is struggling. Is it Caleb Williams? I think it's Shane Waldron, the offensive coordinator over there with the Bears. I don't know how much longer he has a job over there. It shouldn't be very long, to be quite honest. We look at the Seattle Seahawks offense from last year and how they struggled with Shane Waldron as the offensive coordinator. Versus this year, we see JSN starting to take off a bit more. DK Metcalf, when he's been healthy, has been really good. And there's even that damning video. I don't know who's seen it. I saw it multiple times where some interviewers are asking JSN what he thinks about Shane Waldron and his thoughts on him moving to the Bears. And it is very awkward as JSN struggles to find anything positive to say about the play calling that happened in Seattle last year. We're seeing that happen right now with the Chicago Bears. It's not doing Caleb Williams any favors. It's not doing DJ Moore any favors. So I am looking to sell DJ Moore, but then I went and looked at what we can sell DJ Moore for. And to be quite honest, it seems like a lot of the community is caught up to the fact that, hey, this production has not been very good. DJ Moore is only 27 years old. I am hesitant to sell him, so I'm going to place him as a hold for the moment with a cautious sell if we can get the deals we're looking for, okay? Also, another wrinkle to throw in this is Rome Odunze had 5 catches for 104 yards this past game. That's his second game over 100 yards for this offense. As I said a couple weeks ago, Rome Odunze is going to become one of the top wide receivers for this offense over the coming weeks. We're starting to see it come along. This production, 104 yards, versus DJ Moore's 33, we might already be seeing it happening. So, Mike, some trades I would be looking for if I was moving DJ Moore. If I can't get this kind of value, I am more than happy to keep him. Like I said before, he's only 27 years old. He was signed to an extension this offseason. Keenan Allen's not there very long. I'm still happy even if Roma Dunze is the wide receiver 1 after this season, DJ Moore is still a very, very good wide receiver 2 for a very good quarterback I think we have in Caleb Williams. So some values I'm looking for: a first-round pick and a throw-in player. If it's just a first-round pick, I think I'd rather keep DJ Moore. But if I can get a first-round pick and a second-round pick, or a first-round pick and a player that, I can put into my flex spot or gives me some depth at the running back position, I would be looking to make that kind of trade. I would also be looking to move DJ Moore for a undervalued wide receiver who is on IR, like Rashee Rice or Brandon Ayuk. I think Brandon Ayuk, DJ Moore is probably a straight up trade. I don't think you have to add anything there. You probably have to add something to go get Rashee Rice, but because of the injury, you might not have to add much if DJ Moore has a good week just this week. So something I'd keep an eye out if we're going to move DJ Moore. Let's go get a young stud who maybe is a little undervalued right now because of injury. The last value I'm looking for at DJ Moore is a quarterback. If we're looking to add a quarterback to our team, maybe we had Dak and we lost him. We have DJ Moore. What can we do with an underperforming wide receiver to go get somebody for our quarterback spot? I'd be going after Trevor Lawrence, Brock Purdy, Jared Goff.
Let's get into a buy for me. Typically stay away from Eagles players, but I can't ignore what I'm seeing on the field, and that's why I'm going to tell you to buy Philadelphia Eagles wide receiver DeVonta Smith. This last game, 4 catches, but for 87 yards and a touchdown on the season, Nate. He's 35 receptions, 473 yards, 4 touchdowns. He did miss a game with a concussion. Philadelphia has been spreading the ball around more, and Jalen Hurts has been using the middle of the field more, which has been a source of contention between him and I for some time. There's been creative play calling, believe it or not, the last 2 years in the middle of the field. Jalen Hurts just didn't like to throw it there. But with Kellen Moore there, he seems to be getting a little bit more comfortable. We're seeing some things in the middle of the field. Things are getting opened up, which is fantastic. And they do like to put DeVonta Smith in the slot. The important thing about the Eagles offense is to be a wide receiver there. You have to be able to play all 3 positions. They like to mix guys around. But you know what? If you want to buy him, what is it going to cost to get him? This is the important thing. So, Nate, and again, all these trades that we use, you source them from Dynasty Daddy, right?
Yep.
I use Fantasy Calc. So if you think our trades are crazy, you're the ones making them, not me. Jameson Williams, straight up.
No. Well, as in give me DeVonta Smith. Sorry.
Yeah, you would get DeVonta Smith.
Yeah, give me DeVonta Smith.
Yeah, I'll take DeVonta Smith as well. Joe Mixon in a 26th third.
Give me DeVonta Smith. I am proud to say I've never had a Joe Mixon share in my life.
I have one, and it's in Scott Fishbowl, and I will say thank you for median scoring, Scott Fishbowl. Jaylen Waddle in a 25-second.
I think this is more fair. And in the offseason, I think I'd be good with this trade. But in season, with how Waddle's looked, give me DeVonta Smith.
Okay, very good. I'm doing all of these trades to get DeVonta Smith, by the way. We're going to wrap up with a lightning round. Nate, why don't you go ahead and kick it off? This guy's been mentioned a few times on the pod, so let's finish it off.
Yeah, Jaylen Waddle, who scored a touchdown this week, but finished with -4 yards, Mike.
It's the weirdest stat line, man. It really is.
What are we doing? Wide receiver 64 only has 8.2 points per game. I can't trust this Dolphins offense right now, Mike. So I'm avoiding Jaylen Waddle. I will reassess in the offseason.
Yeah. If I have him, I'm not gonna be able to sell him for what I think he's worth. People are gonna still want too much. I don't want to avoid him because we know the talent. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna hold him. And like you said, I'll reassess in the offseason as well, just in a slightly different way because you're avoiding.
If someone out there, God forbid, wanted to trade him for a second-round pick, I would be gobbling that up, though.
Yeah, I probably would.
Absolutely.
Right now. Nate, let's talk about this guy. I've been pounding the table for him all offseason. So far has not come to fruition. It's the Los Angeles Chargers wide receiver Josh Palmer. This last game, 2 catches, 63 yards, and a touchdown. But while he's only averaging 7.7 fantasy points per game, that means he's only wide receiver 75. Wide receiver 75. Now, look, I understand that the Chargers haven't been passing much to start the season, but as Kyron would say, what the frick?
What the frick, man?
He says,
I'm avoiding Josh Palmer. I've been a fan of Josh Palmer for a while. Same. I have a couple shares. If I have them, I'm looking to sell. Can I get a second-round pick? I don't think I can unless I add something to Josh Palmer. If I can do a Josh Palmer and a 3 for a second-round pick, I'm happy to do that.
Do you know what Josh Palmer's contract is?
I believe he's a free agent after this year.
Because here's the thing. I think Josh Palmer is talented. I think with the new coaching staff coming in there, he is a free agent after this season. That makes him a hold for me. He's going to be able to pick where he goes. I do think the Chargers want to bring in a third wide receiver to pair with Quentin Johnston and Ladd McConkey. It's not going to be Josh Palmer. So I would say avoid. If I need to move on from him, I will. But for right now, he's a hold. I want to see what his situation entitles first next season.
I do think that Josh Palmer is kind of the same level wide receiver as Darnell Mooney. If he finds himself a really good position
Okay,
in an
yeah.
offense where they have targets available, I think we could see Darnell Mooney type production out of Josh Palmer in the future. But that has to be the perfect situation where there is not a lot of target competition elsewhere. Because I think Josh Palmer is kind of like a wide receiver, a really good wide receiver 3, a low end wide receiver 2 for a team. He's kind of in the middle of those two. So if he goes in somewhere where there's not a lot of target competition, he can eat up.
Nate, who do you got for us next?
Yeah, next up, we got the wide receiver 1 for Jaden Daniels and the Commanders. We talked about him a couple weeks ago as a buy. Terry McLaurin, 2 catches for 19 yards against the Giants, but he did have 2 touchdowns with those 2 catches. Wide receiver 7 on the season, Mike, with 15.1 points per game. 29 years old. What are we doing with Terry?
He's a buy, man. He's not going to be cheap, but he's always productive.
Also, I just pulled up Dynasty Daddy. The most recent trade to go through for Terry McLaurin at this point is Chuba Hubbard in a 3rd-round pick,
And
which I would do 365 days of the year.
We don't know what what his future looks like. Let's see.
I mean, Chuba's been good. I will say, I'm not trying to discredit Chuba at all, but we do have Jonathan Brooks expected to make his season debut next week.
Well, now hold on a second. One of the most recent trades for Terry McLaurin on Fantasy Calc, this is in a Superflex league, a 25 first and a 26 first.
Ooh, so anywhere between those 2 valuations.
Or here's another one, Cortland Sutton, a 26 first and a 27 second. I like Terry McLaurin. Yeah, that feels like a bit of an overpay to me.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah.
Now I'm feeling like I got on Dynasty Daddy, we got Terry McLaurin for Sam Darnold in a 3rd. I'm okay with that as well. If you got the quarterback depth, I'm seeing Terry McLaurin and Chuba Hubbard together for a 1st and a 2nd-round pick. Very happy with that.
All right, let's get to the next one. New England Patriots tight end Hunter Henry. Now, this is a guy who we always had high aspirations for when he was with the Chargers. Never really got what we wanted out of him. He's been in New England since. This last game, 7 catches for 56 yards, no touchdowns. That's still a very respectful day for a tight end. 39 catches, 414 yards, and a touchdown on the season. He's tight end 6, averaging 9.6 fantasy points a game. He's being productive.
He is being productive, and I don't think he's that expensive, but I do think I probably have to move a 2nd-round pick for Hunter Henry, and I don't feel comfortable moving a 2nd-round pick. If it's like 2/3 or a player in a 3rd, I'm happy to do that, but otherwise I'm probably avoiding Hunter Henry. He has been productive. He's 29 years old, which isn't too old for a tight end.
Yeah.
But also the New England Patriots offense is not something I'm just excited to buy into right now.
Would you pay Theo Johnson in a 25 4th?
Yeah.
Yep. Well, this guy did. How about Romeo Doubs?
No, unless it's a tight end premium league, and then I would consider it if I have no other tight end help.
It is not. It's actually a 1 quarterback league and one more. 25 3rd.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's pretty affordable right now. Or like this guy traded Darius Slayton for him. Good on you, buddy.
Yeah.
Who's making that deal? All right. Who do you got for us next, Nate?
All right. We got the RB2 on the season, averaging 21.2 points per game. That's Alvin Kamara. Alvin Kamara. He's been in the league for so long, I can't even say his last name. 29 rushes for 155 yards and 6 catches for 60 yards this past week. Mike, that was a career high in touches for Alvin Kamara.
Interesting.
His previous high was in 2022 with 32 touches. He had 35 touches in this past game. He also just got signed to a 2-year deal through 2026. The Saints are starting to blow their team up. They didn't get to trade too much from the trade deadline, but they did get rid of Marshawn Lattimore. He went to the Commanders, yes. So they are going to have to blow this team up because they have a lot of cap space that they can't get rid of over the next couple of years. And I guess Alvin Kamara is going to be the main offensive piece that they will play with for the next couple of years. So what are we doing with this guy who continues to score points? Doesn't matter how old he is. Doesn't matter how he's being used. He is a point machine for fantasy football.
Holding and putting him right in my lineup.
Yeah,
I don't want to buy him right now. He's going to be too expensive. I don't want to sell him because I might need him. We're not going to avoid him. you're getting started. Unlike Kendra Miller, 'cause he's on IR, and neither is Dennis Allen.
Yeah. I don't want to move a first round pick for Alvin Kamara, but I'll move a second, even a second plus.
And I don't think that gets it done, to be honest with you.
No.
He's just too productive right now. All right, we got one more here, and that is Dallas Cowboys running back Rico Doubtle. Nate, you did say before the season he'd lead the rushing attack for the Cowboys. You weren't wrong. 12 catches, 75 yards, no touchdowns, 5 receptions, 32 yards, and a touchdown there. He's running back 31 on the season, but he's averaging 12.5 fantasy points per game. They do have Dalvin Cook there. Ezekiel Elliott was not with the team, some sort of team violation, something like that. Who knows how that plays out the rest of the season. It looks like Rico Doubtle is going to be the guy going forward. However, I think the Cowboys have made that pretty clear at this point. Nate, what are you doing?
If you need an RB3 and RB4, you're desperate for their position, I'll go after Rico Doubtle with a third-round pick. No problem. Other than that, as much as I love Rico, I am probably avoiding him because the Cowboys have to do something this offseason to address the running back position. I don't see Rico being a part of that backfield after this year, but I am very grateful to have him where I have him for the rest of the season.
Yeah, that's true. I'll probably just hang on to him if I have him, which I don't. But if I did, I'd play him as needed.